2.19 and 0.45.
He just wants me to try and get us up from the kids to the raw, so yeah, if you can just turn around here, you should be alright.
Well, they're coming into line for race 547 on this big national regatta program over 7 days here at Nagambie Lakes in north central Victoria.
Yeah, but it's a pretty big pond.
They're shared around the states. Next year we'll be going to West Lakes in Adelaide. First time we've raced there since 1999, but there's been a lot of work done on the course there at West Lakes. And the following year we'll be back in Sydney at Penrith for the Olympic year for the final selections of the Australian crews to go to the Olympic Games, of course, in Eton in England. The course is being held, and they've already had a World Championship there, so the conditions at Eton are well tried already, and that should be a great time for Australia, because we're really building up to that effort again to have Australia as one of the top nations in the world. And this next event is the under-17 men's 8s final, sponsored by Scots rowers, in thanking David Boycott. David Boycott, long time member of rowing fraternity, was in the 1956 Olympic 8, which won the bronze medal for Australia at the championships at Lake Wendouree in Ballarat in those days. And the under-17 8s, the Scotch rowers, acknowledging the wonderful effort over many, many years of David Boycott, over 50 years in the sport of rowing. And Scotch College have a crew in this race. They're right up there in contention in the early stages, but the Hutchins crew have gone into the lead. That's the crew on lane 3. The crew from Hobart done very well, the school, at this particular regatta this year. In second place, Wesley College alongside them from Victoria. Then the Scotch College crew, also from Victoria, on lane 4. Followed by St Kevin's College on lane 5, Melbourne Grammar on lane 6, and over on the far side of the course, the Scots College crew, as distinct from Scotch College. The Scots College crew is from New South Wales. And the result is official now in the Schoolboy Cox Quad Scull. First was Newcastle Grammar. Second, the Cathedral School from Queensland, Townsville. Third was Melbourne High School. Fourth, Gippsland Grammar. Fifth, Rockhampton Grammar. And sixth, Kinross Wooleroy School. 6:28.68. 2.92, 2.19 and 0.45. We are streaming the regatta right through to the King's Cup live on WCSN, and you can still subscribe if you wish at this stage of the regatta to the television coverage which we've got here for the rest of the regatta today. And they're coming now down through the 500 metre mark in this next event, the Schoolboy under-17 8s. So young lads, 16, 15 and 14, some of them may be in this these crews, with Scotch College and the Hutchins crew and Wesley College, the early leaders at the 500 metre mark. It was Hutchins in the lead in 1:26.86, followed by Scotch College, with St Kevin's College moving into third place on lane 5, ahead of the Scotch College crew from Sydney on lane 1, then back to Melbourne Grammar on 6, and Wesley College dropping back after a promising start on lane 2 to the rear of the field in the second 500 metres. As the sun comes out for the first time today, we had certainly plenty of sun in the early part of the week of the National Championships. Yesterday was a bit bleak towards the end of the day, of course, but the sun's coming out, and let's hope these conditions can keep prevailing. It's very good conditions for rowing at the present time, with the Hutchins crew from Hobart doing very well here, coached by Mark Kadziolka under Roger Drummond. The senior crew is doing very well at this regatta as well. Sam Heron stroking this crew, behind him Richard Giblin, Tom Johnson, Will Ferguson, Angus Balcom, Claude El Corso, Jack Harrison and Max McMillan and Jock Muir, the cocks of the Hutchins crew, which led at the 500-metre mark and well into the second 500 now. And we'll get a time for you at the 1,000-metre mark, hopefully. And the Hutchins crew in the lead. The challenge coming from Scotch College from Victoria alongside them on 4. Then back to the Scots College crew on the far side of the crew from New South Wales on lane 1. Over on the far side of the Nagambie Lakes course here in north central Victoria. 3:03.09 with Scotch taking the lead there narrowly, only about a metre to Hutchins. They're going stroke for stroke with St Kevin's College in 3rd place. Scots College from New South Wales still in 4th position, followed by Melbourne Grammar School on lane 6 and Wesley College on lane 2 back in 6th position. So this is where it really counts, this third 500 metres in the under-17 Schoolboy Age Championship of Australia, sponsored by Scots Rowers, and thanking David Boycott, our top rower for 50 years now, been involved in rowing. David Boycott, member of the 1956 Olympic 8, which won the bronze medal at Ballarat. And Scotch College, he spent a lot of his time there at school and coaching and teaching in later years in the lead here, so that'll delight him, with Andrew Sipkins coaching this crew, stroked by Jack Tivey. Behind him, Charlie Lockwood, Joseph Brinkler, Charlie Dixon, William Wilson, Ben Stopps, Christopher Brack and William Adams in the bow seat, and coxed by William Bartley, the crew from Scotch College, with Hutchins trying to stick with them here. The Hutchins crew from Hobart, who led in the early stages, but at the 1,500 metres, it's Scotch College in the lead with just under 500 metres to go from Hutchins by about half a length. Very close for the minor placing, the bronze medal, with the Scotch College crew on the outside station from New South Wales and St Kevin's College on lane 5, followed by Melbourne Grammar on lane 6, and tailed off at the rear is Wesley College on lane 2. The time at the 1,500 was 4:38.98, margins 1.20 and 4.13 back to St Kevin's, 1.58 back to Scots, followed by Melbourne Grammar and Wesley. The crew from Scotch College rating on 36 strokes a minute, and that'll delight David Boycott, who this race is in honour of by the Scots Rowers sponsoring the event. Schoolboy under 17/8 with the Scotch College crew half a length in front of the Hutchins crew, who led in the early stage. It was Scotch doing well, 37 strokes a minute now for the last 100 metres. Hutchins trying to hang on, but it looks like Scotch College a third of a length in front. Hutchins coming back at them again, the crew from Hobart, but Scotch College from Victoria across the line first, a quarter of a length clear over the Hutchins crew from Hobart, who led in for most of the race. Very tight for the minor placing, and it looks like the Scotch College crew from New South Wales will take out 3rd position ahead of St Kevin's College in 4th place, followed by Melbourne Grammar School, and a distance back to Wesley College in 6th position. So certainly a thrill for David Boycott, who's had a lifetime in rowing, over 50 years, of course, as I mentioned earlier. And David Boycott honoured by the Scots Rowers and his school, where he taught for many years and coached for many years, winning the under-17/8s in fine style over the crew from the Hutchins school, who did very well, particularly in the early stages, but couldn't quite hold off the Scotch College crew, who are elated after their win. And a very tight race for 3rd, but it looked like the Scotch College crew from Sydney on lane 1 just got up ahead of St Kevin's College. 6:14.28 is the unofficial time there, and 0.86. What happens is the timing devices are given to us, the information, and then the officials look at to make sure that's correct, and then we have the official result given. So we're still waiting on that official result for you. But Scotch College scoring from Hutchins and the Scotch College crew from New South Wales. certainly a wonderful rowing crowd here, probably in the vicinity of 10,000 today at Nagambie Lakes, despite the inclement weather. A huge crowd, and the Governor-General of Australia is expected shortly to arrive. And she will be presenting the Queen's Cup and the King's Cup a little later on in the